Hello friends, this is tutorial number 6 in this C++ design pattern course. In this tutorial we will talk about abstract creator. And I have created one simple hello world project. And like in previous tutorials, I have created application header and a CPP file. As you can see in the CPP file, I have deleted all. I just have included, of course, header file is included, and also I have included IOStream and standard namespace. And here in the header file, I have deleted the class application, and I also added this standard namespace. The same way as we did in previous tutorials. I didn't want to I wanted to save some time. And now let's create standard name, not standard namespace. My namespace will be the name. And let's create a class. The name of the class will be car. We like to work with cars. It will be abstract class. It will have one virtual void function, and it will be the name will be create. We will define it with 0. It will be pure virtual function. Class is abstract, and we need a virtual destructor. That should be fine. Now let's create a car. Class will be BMW, and it will extend the class car. And I forgot here, this function will be public. And here too we will create a public function. It will be void function create. It is a function from the base class, and it will be overridden. And we need two more cars. I will not create a constructor. We will use default one. We don't need to create it. I will just copy this and I will paste it 2 times. We need 2 more cars. We already have BMW. Now we will have Audi. And we will have Toyota. And now we will create one abstract creator class. The name of the class will be abstract car factory. Abstract car factory. And it will have one protected member. It will be a car, and it will be create function that will return a car. We will call it create function. The class will be abstract and it will be virtual, and we will define it with 0. That's okay. And now let's create some public members. We need a get function for the car, and let's create car. But I forgot here, in the car create function will have a pointer. This is C++. We can't forget it. And also we will create one more function. It will be a getCar. It will also be with pointer, and it will be a virtual because this is abstract class. But it will not be pure virtual function. We will just define it as it is. GetCar with pointer. And we also need a virtual destructor. Let's create one. That should be fine. Now we need to create derived classes. Each of these car, it will have own factory, and let's create it. First, let's create a class BMW factory. It will extend abstract class factory, and it will have just one protected member. It will be a create function with pointer, of course. And we will do the same for the another two cars. I will just copy this and I will paste it 2 times. And I will change it. Here will be Audi factory, and here will be Toyota factory. That's okay. Now we need to see, let's try to build and run to see if it will work properly. We don't have any error. Now let's go to our CPP, but we have a create function, which is a function from abstract class, and we can write override here. Okay, it works without any problems for now. Now we need to go to the CPP file and to define all of these functions. Class car, it has a pure virtual void function, which is okay. Now we need to define a create void function for 3 cars. Let's start, but first let's also call my namespace that we have already created, and let's start. Let's define void create function for BMW. Create, and we need to print something. We can write creating a BMW, or this is a create function for BMW. We can write whatever we want. I will just write BMW create function. We just need to know that this is a function for BMW, and I will just copy. I will paste it 2 times. We need the same for Audi and for Toyota. I will change here to Audi, and here in the text I will write Audi, and here I will change to Toyota, and I also need to change a text. I will write Toyota. That's okay. And now let me go back to see what we need to define now. We have defined all of this create a function for all three cars. Now let's go to abstract car factory. We have create function, which is pure virtual function. It's okay. We need to define a get car function for abstract car factory. It will return a car of abstract car factory, but it needs to be with pointer, and it's a get car function, and it needs to return a car, and it will return we will return create function, this protected function. This should be fine. And now what we need to do, we need to define create function for all of these three factories. Let's start with BMW car, BMW factory, create function. Let's define it, and it needs to return BMW factory will return a new BMW. We will use, of course, a default constructor, and we need to do the same for another two cars. I will just copy and I will paste it, one for Audi and another for Toyota. Here will be, just a second, Audi factory, and it will return new Audi. And here it will be Toyota factory, and it will return new Toyota. Okay, I think that we have defined all, but I need to see if it will work properly or we have an error. We don't have any error. Hello world works without any problem. And now we need to move to Maincpp file, and now we need to include this application header file. And we will also include namespace, my namespace that we have created. We will delete this hello world, we don't need it anymore. And now we need to create, first we will create abstract car factory object. Let's start abstract car factory. We need to give it a name, but with pointer. We need to allocate it in the memory. I will call it temp1, and it will be new BMW factory. Don't forget, we are using, of course, default constructor. We haven't created a constructor. We will use default one for the factories and for the cars. And don't forget, BMW factory is derived class of abstract car factory. We are using polymorphism here. And now we need to create a car. We will call it C1, like car 1. And how we will define it? We will call we will use this temp1 object that we have created, and we will call, we can't of course call create function because it's protected. We will call get car function, and it should return us car. And okay, car1 is defined, and now we will just call this void create function. As you can see, let's call this create function, and it will we will see which car is created. It should be BMW. We should have a message create function of BMW. And before we run this, I will just delete C1, and I will also delete temp1. We don't need it anymore. Let's build and run to see if it will work properly. Okay, as you can see, BMW create function, it works like a charm. We have successfully created one BMW from our abstract creator class, which is perfectly. Now let's try with another two cars to see if everything will work properly. To avoid typing, I will just copy these 3 lines of code, and I will paste it here. Let's try with Audi. This abstract car factory, the name will be temp2, and it will be new Audi factory. The car will be C2, car number 2, and we will call get car function from temp2 object, which is Audi factory, and we will call create function from car number 2, and we will delete car 2, and we will also delete temp number 2, and we'll try to see if we will call a void function for Audi, for create an Audi object, and here it is, Audi create function, perfectly fine. And now we will just try the same for Toyota. I will paste it again. Okay, here will be temp number 3, and it will be new Toyota factory. Car will be car number 3, and we will call get car from function from temp3 object, and let's call car3 create function, and here let's delete car3, and we will also delete temp3, and let's build and run to see if it will work properly. As you can see, we have also Toyota create function. It works like a charm. We have successfully implemented abstract creator. I really hope that you like this tutorial. If you like this tutorial, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. You can also follow me on Instagram. You will have a link in the description, and I will see you in the next tutorial.